Howdy lovelies, how are you all doing? Welcome back to our crafting, where we learn, grow and craft together. In today's session on tips and tricks, I want to show you how to make an easy card, and we're going to include ribbon, seeing that we were working with ribbon in our last session, making those beautiful little paper clips and those can openers as an upcycle project. Now, for this one, we need to make a card base. I already have mine ready. You can fold over a piece of cardstock, however big you want. Make sure the ends are straight. Cut a trimmer down if you need to, and then you have your card base. You can also buy some card bases ready to purchase to save you some time, or if you're still a bit wary of making your own. Without further ado, let's get started. So for this session, I'm going to use some ribbon. I have my card base I want to add. I've got these ones from the previous session. I've added a little bit of gingham that I want to add. This is my card base. It is straightforward, just some white cardstock that I had folded over. I do make my own. You can just burnish the end, make sure that's a crisp fold. I want to use some scrap orange cardstock to go with the ribbon to make a little backing for this. Now, this card is 14 by almost 10 centimeter. This little card, and this is quite skew on this side. I tend to make it easier for myself and line it up with a side that is straight. From there, I'm going to cut down. This is 14, so about 13 centimeters. And yes, I'm counting 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and 13 is there. Now I'm going to line up my ruler, get my box cutter, Stanley knife, call it what you want, craft knife, and going to cut that across. So that will go for the next time. This one I'll just trim down there and see how far and how well it fits my card. I might have to trim it a little bit more, but I like to do it the visual way. Other people would do it differently by already, there we go. So we will be using this one as it is. Now for this, if you had some die cut machine or so, you could have run this through an embossing folder, which will be a great way of adding texture. Before we glue this down, I want to show you how to add the lace to the ribbon to this cardstock. We're going to add a little tiny card that I previously stamped and colored. It's got this watercolor effect as I used some distress watercolor pencils. So I'm going to put my base one side for now, and I'm going to add, now you can use double-sided tape for this. I'm going to just trim this a tiny little bit wider than my card, just a tiny little bit wider. And I'm going to use Eileen's again to add this. Now, more or less there, I'll just make an indent in my card, just line it up so that I have it both sides more or less there. We won't see that, and when we turn it over we will see the marks at the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, and I know other people do this differently, this is my way. I am not very fond, maybe it's the quality of double-sided tape that I find here, it's not the strongest for me, and I'm going to add a little bit that side too. Again, blow on it a tiny little bit just to get it a little bit more tacky. Going to add this lace there, not too far because we don't want it too short to go over to the other side. There we have that. Now it will glue down in time. You can, however, use a little clip just to hold it in place for a moment. And then our next step will be to take a piece of this, not too much. We'll do this first, and then we're going to tie this just a tiny little bit, and then we can trim the rest off. And yes, I want that to bend in a bit. Just manipulate that I'm going to still trim that off, so be careful not to cut the other ribbon on the gingham side. Just trim that off for yourself, and I'm going to trim the ends to make the little fishtail cut away from you, that double lip. And there we have that, and we're going to repeat it on this. Yes, it adds detail, but it also keeps your ribbon from unraveling. If that bothers you, you can put a little bit of glue just to keep that from unraveling. Now, while this is gluing, we're going to add this, while this is drying, I mean to say, we're going to add this card to the base now. So turn this over, and I'm going to add my glue. You can use whatever glue you like to use. Use your favorite, what you're comfortable with. Going to add this to my card base now, and just making sure that stays well. A bit there, move that down. There we go. And some glue in the middle. Next time I will show you a trick with some embossing folders. Card open that side. Now we're going to just add this to our card base. Could have been a little bit wider, but that was a scrap piece of cardstock, so beggars cannot be choosers. Working with our, there we have that. And again, we can burnish this with a bone folder, glue stick, back of a glue stick, this card, just to make sure it is glued down well. Then I'm going to go ahead and I am going to add this. Now, before I do, I want to just add a little bit of a color to the edge, and I think I want to go for green ink. Now, so I'm going to go for Mode Lawn. This is a mini. I add my Distress inking tools, the foam parts to this. Going to tap on the Distress ink just to ink this little tool, and then just inking the edges, and that will help for this to stand out a little bit more, making it the focal point, and maybe just go over it here and there again. There we go. And again, just take this off and put it in there, and then it easily to store, ready for next time. Now for this one, we're going to add this little focal point there, and that will be perfect. Not going to use liquid glue because this is very thin. This cardstock is very, very thin. Just adding some glue to the back of that, making sure there's glue all over so that it can glue down well. And would you believe it, I've got some glue now on the front. We'll fix that now. And then in that space, we will just glue it down. And there we have that. Finish that. And there we have made a beautiful little card with some lace, ribbon detail. I always say lace when it's ribbon, and ribbon when it's lace. I just want to get that little piece of glue off there. And there is our beautiful little card. Not much of an effort, just a tiny little bit. I just want to erase that bit of glue that's sitting there before it is completely dry. A lovely little card, and I'm sure the recipient's heart will be very happy when they find this piece of sunshine when they are given it. Thank you for joining me today. Please go try, even if it is a simple card. Simple is always pretty. It doesn't have to be elaborate. Don't shy away because you don't have The skills are something that we can learn. It is a matter of getting comfortable with what you are doing. And I always tell myself it's only paper. If I don't like it, we can start again. Paper won't bite us. So I hope for the newbies, those that are wanting to try, they would find the courage. And remember, all of those advanced crafters all started at the beginning of being a beginner, and a journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. So go try this for yourself. You want to see more content like this? Please give me a thumbs up. And of course, I will always appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel too. If you haven't done so yet, please hit that little notification bell so that you do not miss out on new content. See you back soon. Goodbye.